know. It's so nice. It's so nice to be with you today. And John, thank you for that wonderful introduction, though it could have been longer and more poignant. I would like to tell you all a little of the history of Sir Graves' life story. So, as you may know, some 400 years ago, Queen Elizabeth of England decided to have Sir Graves hung by the neck. He was then buried in a coffin, and in 1967, he awoke and jumped out of the coffin and was so thankful that the hanging was like a bad vaccine. It didn't take. So, he was in London and he started thinking, with my new opportunity of a new life, what should I do? So he decided, I need to be a more friendly vampire. Well, where could a friendly vampire live? Why not Detroit, Michigan? Go Wolverines! Yeah. So, Sir Graves took the red-eye special from London overnight to Detroit. As soon as he landed, he decided, I need to go to the dentist. So he shows up at the dentist office and he tells the dentist he'd like to have his fangs ground down to little stubs. And the dentist said, why do that? They're so nice and white and long. And Sir Graves said, well, now that I'm going to be a more friendly vampire, I would like to be able to greet people in the public and to kiss their little babies without leaving too deep of an impression. So, okay, that's enough of that. A little bit of Dad's humor popped into his show, obviously, but it also popped into his everyday life. So I'd like to tell a few little stories of my relationship with Dad and Sir Graves while I was a graduate student at Cranbrook Academy of Art. Yay, Cranbrook. So I started Cranbrook in 1968, and the day that I handed in my application, they had a category where you had to fill in your father's occupation. And me being the guy that I am, I wrote vampire. So I'd been in the studio for about a month, and one of the instructors there at Cranbrook came up to me and said, Demi, is your father on television in Detroit? And I said, yeah. Is he Sir Graves Ghastly, the vampire? And I said, yeah. He says, the people in the office are still trying to figure out why you would do that. So anyway, about a month later, I heard that Dad was doing Saturday matinees where he'd do a half-hour skit before the theater would show a horror movie. And so I asked him where the next one was going to be. I'd like to come and see it. So anyway, I believe it was here at the Redford Theater. So I came. There had to be 400 kids from 7 years old to 14 years old. So I was the biggest kid in the audience. So I was sitting right out there in the middle. And it was a half-hour skit, and it was really quite funny. Sir Graves in his full outfit with the cape. And he was doing this skit with a well-endowed nurse. And it wasn't too sexually oriented, but just enough to titillate the kids so they were having a good time. So I looked at my watch and realized that the half hour was almost up, and all of a sudden, the two exit doors on each side of the stage here opened up. He had hired two Detroit Pistons basketball players and put them in Frankenstein outfits. These guys walked in going, "Ugh." Kids were running up the aisle, diving into the seats, screaming, and I wet my pants laughing. It was great. So, where I lived while I was a graduate student was in Bloomfield Hills, where Cranbrook is, but my living situations, my wife and I lived in the gatehouse of the vice president of the Ford Motor Company. I was the grounds caretaker.